Glad you could join us. My name is Daniel Dazen, and the University of Education has been closed down. This follows escalating protests and destruction of school property by students. The students' protest started when 2 lecturers and some workers of the school were dismissed for not following due process in seeking redress to their grievance. Yesterday in the evening, some students burnt tires on campus, protesting the dismissal of their lecturers. Here's Central Regional Minister Kwamina Duncan announcing the decision of RECSEC to close down the council.
People are going to enter upon, but those are matters that the appropriate authorities are seized with, i.e. the University Council and the Minister in charge of tertiary education, and by extension the Minister for Education. Ours as the Regional Security Council is to ensure the peace and security of the university. So, on the advice of the Regional Security Council, we cannot continue to allow the university to be in session. That our report is this, that every passing day, the level of insecurity increases or escalates. As we speak, some of the buildings have had their windows shattered. The university's bus, I'm told the glasses have been shattered. That yesterday, during the period of the power outage, some of the students took advantage of that and set tires burning, blocked roads, and virtually were seeking to turn the security and the peace of the university upside down. This morning, they have not relented in their effort to continue with the
Now, some students have been telling Adum TV police started firing tear gas this morning while they were in class.
Question, no? That is the problem.
We are even afraid.
You see, that is the problem in the sense that, even though Krampana police for no Krampon, my Krampon, we don't even know our left and right. The administration has made it so say there is so much tension on campus. Without them Krampa win yourself and Ross lecture. Your lecture hall honma ya to babu mu say mimun minam mimu na yam ya ana me nam honum no and to so the person administration yam ya and say they should just look at the matter and look at the people and address the issue according to how it's supposed to be. Sana be ya asumdie beba because here ebe na e ka say ba na say bibi say wa this here e ka be na ye de be beli en ana yentimi so nka say hypers department for kwa na nya because yes sorry obi da so aka sorry yes men ka sorry me so ye ina na aka yen
issues I say bam because abandon on the the oba easy your friend thing
yeah easy na so
oba easy no nation
being one on campus and a chaos situation like this with persons with visual impairment. When you pass there, you can't see what is going on. So life is seriously unsafe on campus. So in fact, there should be an intervention. If not, the next thing is that we are going to lose lives and most of our properties. Thank you.
And if you for a move for just a school, inclusive school, and to make and penny put 2 measures in place. Now, yes, I know it's almost there. We are very, very disappointed in them. The tear gas in the FM Shukani, Nippon Bubu Faso, Ebimu, I said, Muna, my boys will be free and video. Or Mastaki, and if for her, somebody see and then if for a woman. Only now, I'm going to carry our young baby on my back. And where they are saying, yes, I'm buying. Yes, in a provoke here. Yes, I'll see you and Omono, Omayanto, Moswaba. This in a do a musiso. This in a do a musiso in Tino. Just an Omuya be a papa and a yo and yo. Almost support to Papano. And Nipa be 70 tear gas ya come. Nipa be 70 school for classes here there. Na police for out to tear gas.
Yes, the class is here and you no must say to tear gas. Even class students need be collapse still. Omo bubo be crasum. Ade.
What is the police are rather demonstrating against us? What is happening? Look at we are students. Some are disabled. There are disabled people here. What are they doing to us? It is not right. It's not right at all.
Say peaceful demonstration. After I want to tour. So I want to tour there. When are the woman gym? Yeah, the woman gym.
Richard Kojonyako will join us shortly, but you just heard some students speak there. Some of them spoke Akan, and they were saying that again they had tear gas fired at them whilst they were in class, and some of the students were physically disabled, some were blind, and so they were affected heavily by the tear gas. We take you back to that story shortly, but in the meantime, the Ayawaso West Wuogon Commission of Inquiry into the Baoleshi violence will this afternoon present its report to President Akufo-Addo. The commission was set in February with a one-month mandate to identify the cause of the violence, those responsible, and recommend sanctions. This afternoon's meeting is expected to brief the president on work done so far. Elton Bobe is our presidential correspondent.
On the 6th of February, the Vice President, acting on behalf of President Akufo-Addo, set up this particular committee to, among others, probe into the circumstances that led to the violence that characterized the Ayawaso West Wuogon parliamentary by-election, and also identify persons responsible, and then also probe into other matters that may be of interest to them. They were given a one-month notice, and today they are here to present their report and their recommendation to President Akufo-Addo because he set up this particular committee. The meeting itself was initially set up for 10 a.m., but we've been told that it's been moved to 1 p.m. What is going to happen is that the chairman of the committee, Emil Schultz, will lead the other members of the committee, Professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu and a former IGP Patrick Kwatine-Champong, together with the secretariat of the committee, in a meeting with President Akufo-Addo. The meeting will take place in the president's own office, and then they will present the report to the president together with some preliminary comments. President Akufo-Addo is expected to also respond to it, and then I'm sure that what he will tell the committee is that government will study the report of the committee and then issue a paper on the report. So that is what's going to happen today. We may have the opportunity to get some aspect of the report, but it's unclear for now. We'll wait till 1 p.m. and then get the details of it.
Let's take you back to that earlier story where the University of Education Winneba has been closed down. And Richard Kojonyako has joined us on the line with the very latest. Richard, what's the latest from there?
Well, in the past 15 minutes or so, the Regional Security Council converged at the University of Education campus and announced that the University of Education Winneba, as a result of the protestation by students, should be closed down, and all students should vacate the campus by 6 p.m. They've been demonstrating for the past 3 days, and it got to its very peak yesterday when, during the blackout, the students started burning car tires and then entering into the university property, vandalizing them. In the morning, they began again, and they started vandalizing, blocking roads. They destroyed their school bus. It caused some damage to some buildings of the school. And I mean, what was heartbreaking was when the visually impaired students there, I mean, did not know what to do because there was this throwing of tear gas by the police in order to even bring the situation under control. So that was really what happened. So Regional Minister Kwame Nadankan addressed the news conference and said that the school has to be closed down to save human lives and property and to prevent further destruction to school property.
Now, how are the students reacting to this latest announcement?
Well, the students are still protesting. They are still demonstrating. They are in their usual red. They are demonstrating, and we are waiting to see to the 6 p.m. deadline that has been set by the Regional Security Council whether they are going to vacate the campus or not. And as we speak now, the police keep on calling for reinforcement in order to bring the situation under control. And so their numbers from yesterday have quadrupled. And so you can see the number of security personnel that are on the campus at the moment. This has brought a lot of confusion and tension at the university because you know that the community lives within or in the midst of the university. People wanted to come in, but they couldn't, and so they got stranded at the River station, and they didn't know where to go because the police were throwing tear gas and to disperse the crowd, but the crowd made up of students were not budging, and so that really has been the situation on the campus. But we do not know for sure whether this shutdown of the school affects the other campuses of the university. You know, they have the Kumasi campus and they have the Jumako campus. But my guess is that it might affect only the Ridiba campus because that was where the action really was.
Thank you very much, Richard Kojonyako, for that update. Now, the national organizer of the New Patriotic Party, Samuel Uku, has told Joy News his party will, by close of day today, formally write to the opposition NDC to officially invite them over for the dialogue on disbanding party militias. It's been 21 days since President Akufo-Addo directed the two political parties to meet and come up with ways to end party militialism. This meeting is still pending as the ruling MPP trades letters with the NDC over the scope of the engagement. In an interview with my colleague on News Desk this morning, however, Samuel Oku assured the NDC will hear from them on the way forward.
Not in a war situation. Even warring factions sometimes break the ice before major meetings. And what sometimes does happen is that in negotiations, you need to have an informal discussion, so that you set the tone right. Then all of you go into more or less conclave or in a formal meeting. But the NDC is rejecting that. They still insist that no, we should just write. You know, the danger is that when you write,
haven't done that because
we wanted to adopt the informal first and then send the letter.
For 3 weeks.
But yeah, that's for 3 weeks. We've been trying to get them. My national chairman has been trying to get Chairman of Oswampofu to have this discussion.
So it is true, like Johnson Esiedin said, you haven't written. So in his argument yesterday on Top Story with MFA Apau, he says we haven't received an invitation. So how do we meet?
There are two things. It's either you only want to stick to one side of the argument.
No, not at all. So I'm asking that for us, true you haven't written.
We haven't written a formal letter. That is not in doubt.
Okay.
But what we're saying is that writing a formal letter, it just takes minutes. And we will deliver by close of today or first thing tomorrow morning. The NDC should have the formal letter from the MPP. But that in itself will not solve the problem. That's why we felt that, look, let's break the ice first, so that when we are writing a letter, the content of what you are expecting is embedded in the letter. What is going to happen, and I can predict the NDC strategy, and you can mark it on the wall. We will write to them, and then they will then write back and say, okay, let us know the conditions within which we're going to meet.
On calls for the inclusion of a third party into the conversation, Mr. Ewuku explained both parties have issues between them to be addressed, which are not healthy for a third party's consumption. The reason an exclusive meeting between the two is the best way to go for now.
I find it very interesting. The first meeting, bring all these mediators you're talking about. And if it doesn't go well, who do you tend to? And I ask the question, where do broken hearts go? Because then the nation's heart is broken. So there's nobody as the last person to stand in and help. The Peace Council, they have indicated that in the past, their engagements with these political parties, it's been clear to them that all of them always claim or say they don't have any of these groups in their fold. Yours. I'm saying all the political parties they've engaged, and the MPP is one. I don't want to pretend. You know, I come to this table with a very honest position.
Exactly.
Likewise, that of my party. Then you also do have the NDC still insisting they don't have any in their fold. When the NCC, 3 months ago, you can speak to Nkrumah, Josephine Nkrumah, she engaged the NDC side on the activities of these groups and how it affects our democracy. The NDC said, in fact, they hid all the blame on the NPP. Josephine Nkrumah and her team then visited the NPP's headquarters. NPP also took time to heap everything on the NDC. And that's the kind of football that we wanted to avoid. When the two of us sit, these are parties with mutual respect. And we can look into each other's eyes and point out the errors and point out the groups we talk about.
Sorry to cut in. And talking about looking into each other's eyes, exactly why I wanted a rep from the NDC here. So we could have an honest discussion about this. But the discussion won't end alone on radio. Exactly.
The two of us, you see, we don't have any problem at all. Bringing in mediators. But then that is another nice way of a window dressing.
Let me just come in with this. You used the NCC example.
Yes, and I've used the Peace Council
example.
And
the fact that
these are two mediators they have recommended.
It's a blame game thing. And so you're saying that, well, we've had them visit us in times past, but we still haven't gone anywhere with it. But isn't that enough reason why you actually need a mediator? Because if the blame game is still there...
never needed a mediator to call President Mahama after the Supreme Court decision. It was an honest and a democratic thing to do. President Mahama didn't need a mediator to pick a phone to concede defeat to Nana Addo after December 7, 2016. Let's not pretend that these political parties are warring factions.
Mr. Oku also insisted the I Group is a job-seeking entity and not a militia group. Now, still on this story, the U.S. Ambassador to Ghana, Stephanie Sullivan, says her country welcomes the attention Ghanaian organizations are bringing to bear on the problem of addressing the issue of militialism. She says the U.S. is ready to support Ghana with whatever assistance required to tackle it. Ambassador Sullivan said this when she interacted with some selected media personnel in the northern region.
Ambassador Stephanie Sullivan said the U.S. government is open to offer suggestions and any specific assistance Ghana may ask for in addressing the issue.
The second aspect you raised of the vigilante groups. So, okay, I was here before. They used to be called macho men, right? But it's a little bit different now. It seems, they're armed. They're not just muscular. So I welcome the attention that Ghanaian organizations have brought to this problem. Again, it's not for foreigners to say, hey, you guys have a problem. It's really for us to say, okay, you all have identified a problem. How can we help you? How can we support you? How can we be a good friend and neighbor to help with this? So I think we're open to receiving ideas and proposals where people might ask us for some specific assistance. I think it's very good to have high-level political commitment on all sides to tackle the problem and to tackle it in a very impartial, free and fair and responsible way, and not point fingers and just say, well, we don't have a problem, but you have a problem. No, you have a problem, we don't have a problem. Because then we all have a problem.
She said she was pleased that the decade-long tension in Dagbon had been resolved. Ambassador Stephanie added that peace on its own is not sustainable unless it's backed by economic empowerment.
I was very pleased to see this resolution and the involvement of the traditional leaders in putting an end to this decades-old tension. And so I think that, peace by itself without economic activity, it doesn't have the same level of sustainability. So this is where I get back to what we're doing to encourage entrepreneurship, to encourage women's economic empowerment, and all of the other quality of life social programs that we're involved in. I think will make it a more peaceful environment where people don't feel the need to get rough with each other. At the same time,
In that part of the country, because the Deputy Upper West Regional Minister, Amidu Chinia Isahaku, has urged participants attending the tripartite meeting between the Upper West region of Ghana, Bunkano region of the Côte d'Ivoire, and Southwest region of Burkina Faso to shun the tendency of engaging in any blame game. He urged the three parties to discuss the issues that will promote a stronger bond among them rather than disuniting them. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam is attending the two-day meeting in Wa, which is focusing on cross-border crime, and now reports.
The tripartite meeting follows the resolution from the last cooperation meeting held last year at Gao in the southwest region of Burkina Faso. Deputy Upper West Regional Minister Amidu Chine Isaku joined a 46-member delegation led by the regional ministers from Southwest and Bonkana regions of Burkina Faso and La Côte d'Ivoire respectively for the first cooperation meeting for the year. The purpose of the cooperation meeting is not only to deepen the long-standing relationship between the three border regions, but also foster unity among the people. It's also aimed at getting the regions to work together to deal with challenges that frustrate efforts among the regions, guarantee the safety and security of people who move in and out of the borders, and promote the socio-cultural bond they share. Head of the Upper West delegation and Deputy Upper West Regional Minister Amidu Chine Isaku recounts some of the issues that were discussed at the last meeting at Gao and the actions taken so far.
I would like to entreat us not to make the cooperation meeting a ground for laying blames on each other. We must discuss issues in a manner that will promote our bond, rather than disunite us. Let us dispassionately discuss the challenges that hinder and affect the livelihood of our people so that together we can find ways to deal with the challenges on our own without resorting to the national diplomatic channels.
Amidu Chine Isaku entreated the participants not to use the cooperation as grounds for laying blames on each other.
It was agreed that we share information on notorious criminals who commit crimes and run to neighboring regions to hide. We also resolve to collaborate better in combating armed attacks, terrorism, drug trafficking, and cattle theft. To effectively fight cross-border crimes, we need to agree and share common contact numbers among our security agencies to facilitate the exchange of information and intelligence on wanted criminals.
The two ministers from the Bonkani and Southwest regions, Pandro Joseph and Colonel Taxiba Nitiema, also shared their thoughts on the meeting.
Greeting and thanks also the former regional minister who has been posted to another responsibility, and also hope for him success. And it is celebrated him because he attended various events held in Burkina Faso.
Votre délégation à votre fête nationale.
We have also illicit fishing with toxic products. In these events, we hunted about the project like mercury, snake. We have also the population immigration without documents.
The cooperation meeting will be climaxed on Thursday with the issuance of a communique. Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
Back to the capital now, and the Minister of Energy, John Peter Amewu, is on an inspection tour of selected ECG substations in Accra. The tour is to enable the ministry get a first-hand info on the status of equipment and machines at these substations, which have been blamed for the numerous cases of blackouts recorded in many parts of the country lately. Various parts of the country have been experiencing erratic power supply in the last couple of days without any prior information from Power Distribution Services (PDS). The unannounced power cuts have left many businesses, state institutions and individuals stranded and wondering if the country has returned to the Doomsor era. Well, while we await a response, let's go live to my colleague Maxwell Agbagba, who is with the minister on a tour to some of the substations. Hello, Maxwell. Where have you been so far, and what have you observed at these substations?
Yes, Daniel. The first place we visited was Central Business Substation, where the Gridco CEO, Jonathan Hamakuba, has been explaining to us that the power outage on Tuesday and Wednesday was due to a technical challenge. He said that the first-time technology they are using at the CBD substation, and they're laying some underground cables, which get heated when they exceed certain current limits. He said on the day when they were laying the cables, actually, it reached that threshold, and so there was an automatic shutdown of the substation, leading to power outage in the central and in western parts of Accra. The second place we visited was Bukwase, where there is an ongoing construction of the 3-tier interchange. The work going on there has actually contributed. So I also contributed to disruption in power supply. There, the grid continues so that it should be done with some work within 5 days. And there also want to talk to the Minister of Energy, John Peter.
Line, he was describing the various substations that they visited. He was just about to tell us what the Minister for Energy, John Peter Amewu, had been saying. Information we have is that he has given himself a 5-day deadline, saying that in 5 days, this situation will be rectified. We'll get more from Maxwell before the bulletin is over. But in the meantime, musician Andy Alexander Ni Akreshi, popularly known as OJ Black, was diagnosed with double kidney failure in 2016. He tells Joy News, though doctors did not tell him the cause, he knows his unhealthy life, i.e. his drinking, smoking and eating junk food, caused the ailment. As the world marks Kidney Day today on the theme Kidney Health for Everyone, Everywhere, OJ Black is requesting government to help patients pay the huge amounts involved in undergoing dialysis. Here's why.
Let's check our lifestyle and kick this kidney thing out, because I realize that now it's becoming too serious in Ghana. Now kidney is taking over. Every day you hear kidney cases. Let's just check ourselves. The lifestyle, even if your family has this diabetic problem, hypertension problem, listen, don't think that because of that you also have to get it. Or because you have it now, you think that, hey, it's in my family. No, that thing people say, I think it's wrong.
If each section of dialysis costs 400 or even above, it means it's taking a huge toll on the finances of relatives of patients who are there. Do you have any call to government with regards to supporting such persons?
Yes. Yes. I will plead with the government to actually help subsidize the payment, because a lot of people are dying because they can't go on the machine. People come there, and because they don't have their receipt, they turn them away. I mean, they sack them. I've seen a lot of it. No, at all. And I've seen a lot of it. Hey, no, don't do that yet. Take him away, take it away. You see, I think because of the cost, because of this, I'm even praying about a foundation, a renal foundation. But the truth is, I think the government should help. I mean, subsidize it so that at least people can.
Now, as Ghana joins the world to mark World Kidney Day today, pediatric nephrologist Dr. Victoria May Adaberi says the consumption of unapproved herbal preparations is a major cause of kidney diseases. She therefore cautions the public against the use of unapproved herbal preparations. Joy News' Dorcas Bwedu has the rest of the story.
According to renal experts, it is estimated that 850 million people worldwide have kidney diseases. Dr. Victoria May Adabayeri says kidney cases amongst children increased by 30% last year. She explained that though some children are born with life-threatening kidney conditions, there are many other children who get the condition due to unhealthy lifestyles.
Obesity is one thing that we are all fighting against, because if the children are too big, it can affect their kidney health. And also the use of herbal medications or non-prescribed medications can also affect the kidney. So definitely your lifestyle in children for obesity and the use of herbal medications. The statistics that show that we saw more children with kidney conditions, and that means with a lot of different conditions of the kidney. We saw more in 2018 as compared to 2017. We had about a 30% increase, but that doesn't necessarily translate into it being on the rise in the population. It could be that mothers or parents are more sensitized and therefore are seeking attention earlier. So we do see an increase in the absolute numbers, but that doesn't necessarily translate into there being more problems with the kidney in the population.
Dr. Victoria May Adabayeri says specializing in pediatric nephrology is expensive and requires the state to invest in the infrastructure needed for the training.
Training, I was trained, so there should be more training opportunities for young doctors to enter into the subspecialization. And probably because it's so challenging with funds and equipment, we cannot draw their interest, or they sometimes feel it is a fruitless specialty. So we could change that and encourage younger doctors to join the kidney subspecialty.
Dr. Adabayeri also called on parents to look out for particular symptoms in children to detect kidney conditions at an early stage. And she also cautioned parents on the intake of salt.
If the child is not growing well, that is one very important reason. So mothers of young children, babies, should be interested in the growth of their babies. And medically, we take care of that by asking them to go to the immunization clinics, the child welfare clinics, where their growth is plotted. Again, mothers of baby boys should be watching how the urine comes out, because a young baby boy should be able to spurt out the urine that will travel a long distance. But if the urine is just coming out in dribbles, it could be that there was a developmental issue. The child's kidney did not develop properly, and so it needs to be investigated. So watch the urinary stream of your boys, watch the growth pattern of the small children. As the child grows older, if they notice any swellings of the eyes, of the legs, of the abdomen, that could also be a sign that there's a kidney problem. But again, we don't expect our mothers to know everything. So an annual checkup of the child's urine and the child's growth and the child's blood pressure at a clinic could also reveal that there could be a kidney problem, and it can be investigated.
So live on Joy News today with me, Daniel Dazi. Now coming up in business, Oxfam Ghana begins initiative to promote responsible tax practices among multinationals operating in the country. Daryl has the latest after this.